Cold weather got you down? Snow in April, not your thing? Sick and tired of winter coats and snow pants and hat and mitts? Well, fear not, my friends. Spring is finally here. Welcome to another day of Blast Lead On. Today, we are making rain clouds.
Because we're Moorelands kids. Lead on, and we know where we're going. Yeah, we're all here to spread some cheer and help you all to grow. With our HQs and me and you, come with us and you'll know. Lead on, because we're Moorelands kids. Lead on, and we know where we're going.
So in case you forgot, my name is Aurora, and before we start this super awesome craft, let me remind you of this week's habit and quality and how it came into play when making this craft. So maybe you'll notice there is a lot of cotton balls and a lot of raindrops on this craft. So this week's habit and quality is choose your response and respect. This craft takes a lot of time, gluing those cotton balls on one by one, cutting out every single raindrop one by one. Takes a lot of time. So when I was doing this, I really had to stop and think and choose my response, not to get frustrated or fed up and give up on the craft. I had to take my time, push through, and keep the end goal in mind. When it comes to respect, I think it's always important to remind each other to treat each other the way we want to be treated, be polite, and always be respectful of everyone's differences around us. It's also important when we're doing crafts that we respect our environment and the place we're in. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm not gonna get paint anywhere. I'm gonna make sure I clean up after myself, and I'm gonna make sure I'm respecting the space I'm in. So try to keep that in mind when you're making this craft. All right, let's begin. So in front of me here, I have all of the supplies I'm gonna need to make this craft. I have my cotton balls, I have a pair of scissors, I have a paper plate, yellow paint, some string, tape, and a white piece of paper and a blue piece of paper. The first thing we're gonna do to start off this craft is we're gonna paint our paper plate yellow, and that's gonna be our sun. And the reason we wanna do this first is because it might take a little bit of time to dry, so while we're waiting, we can work on the other steps of the craft. All right, so you just wanna paint the whole thing yellow. Okay, so once your plate is completely yellow, you can place that off to the side somewhere where it can dry, and we'll move on to our next step. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut out our cloud. So you can choose to just freely cut it however you want, or you can do what I'm gonna do and draw it out first and then cut out the drawing. All right. Nice and fluffy cloud. Carefully cut it out. And there we go. I have the shape of my cloud ready to go. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my cotton balls and glue them onto my cloud to make it nice and fluffy. So I'm gonna open my glue. I'm gonna kind of randomly spread it around. You don't need too much. And then you're gonna take your cotton balls and you can just place them on everywhere until you've covered all of the paper, okay? There we we go. So as you can see, I covered all of the paper with my cotton balls to make it nice and fluffy. Now I'm going to put it off to the side with my plate, let those dry, and in the meantime we can start making our raindrops. So what I like to do is draw out my raindrop first, okay, just like that. And then I'm going to cut one out, and then what I will do is I'll use this one to trace all of my others so that they look similar enough to each other. But you don't have to do that. If you want, you can just cut them out however you like. And we're gonna need about 16, okay? Depends on the size of your cloud. Maybe you wanna cut out a couple, see how it goes. But I think for mine, I'm gonna need about 16 raindrops. So I've drawn out my raindrops. You can see I did one extra because I got a lot of pen all over my template one. So now I'm gonna have 16 fresh ones. Just gonna cut them all out carefully, take my time. Okay, so I've got all my raindrops cut out here, ready to go. And now in order to put them onto my cloud, I need to use this string that I've got. So I chose to use blue because it matches the rain, but you can use white or gray or whatever color you have at home. I'm gonna cut 4 pieces, all the same length. Okay, so about this long, okay? Not quite the length of my arm, but maybe the length of your arm. Okay, now I'm gonna use this first one to match it up so that I make sure I cut it the same length. That's 2. So by now the glue on my cloud should be dry enough. What I'm gonna do is flip it over, and then I'm gonna use my tape to tape the string onto the back of the cloud so that it falls down like raindrops from behind. Okay, so just need a tiny little piece of tape. And there's 4. So you can see the rain starting to go down. I just need to tape on my drops now. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my raindrops behind, just like this, underneath my string, and then I'm gonna tape it on from the back there. It is best if you have clear tape, just so that it's see-through, but if you don't, that's okay. And I'm gonna try to put 4 on each string. Okay, so I've got my raindrops taped on there. Remember, depending on the size of your cloud, you don't have to have 4 on each string. You can have 2, 3, 10, as much as you have room for. And now we're gonna check that our plate is dry. The yellow paint looks dry to me. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out tiny squares around the edges of the plate, and that's what's gonna make the effect of our sun rays coming from our sun. So carefully, just gonna cut out little squares just like that, all the way around my whole plate. Careful with your fingers. Make sure your paint is dry so that we don't get yellow paint all over our scissors or our table or wherever we are working. Okay, and there we go, looking like the sun already. Now our very last step is I'm going to glue my sun on behind my cloud. So it's just going to go on the corner just like this, okay? So when I glue it on, it'll look like that. Okay, press it down, make sure it's stuck on nice and proper. Okay, so there we have it, our rain cloud craft just in time for our spring shower season. Make sure you're choosing your response and being respectful while you're making this craft and every day. Thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to see how they turn out at program. Bye!